So the first thing you need to figure out is your key. Alright, and the key is B flat. Now we have to do out our chord chart. So our chord chart now is going to be from B flat to B flat and includes all of the other notes that are in between those two notes, including E flat, which some of you may forget. So we'll do out our chord chart here. Here's B flat, C, D, E flat. Right, and you want to try and do it out so that it is legible and it's not rushed or anything, because this needs to be clear. If you can't read this, then you're probably going to make a mistake. Okay, so I've done out that much. I've put in all of my flats. Now I need to figure out which ones are major and minor. So we've got the chord of 1, and the chord of 4, and the chord of 5, and 1, 4, 5 are always major. We've got the chord of 2, which is minor, and the chord of 3, which is minor, and the chord of 6, which is minor. The chord of 7 is diminished. So diminished, minor, minor, and minor. Now, the other thing you need to remember is that 2 of the chords that are not on our syllabus are the chord of 3 and the chord of 7. So you can draw a line through each of them. Now, where do we go from here? Well, we've got to do out our options. Okay, so key, then chord chart, right, symbols, and then options. Okay, right. Let's have a look at this first bar here. We've got a B, and a B, and a B, and an A, and a B. So, what chords could we use here? We've got a B in B flat here, so we put up B flat as an option, and try to write in your symbols in your options, or you're going to forget to put in the correct symbol once you get in here. So that's B flat. We've got another B here in E flat, and we've got a B flat in G minor. Right. Now, some of you would look at A and try and find a chord for A, but you've got to look at how important A is as a note in this bar. A is half of one of these 4 beats, so there's 3.5 times as many B's as there is A, so that A is not important whatsoever. So I wouldn't even think of putting in chords up here that are related to A. Here we've got lots of C's. What chords do we have that match up with a C note? Well, we've got C minor, and we put in our symbol. We've got F, because there's a C up here. Okay. We could have used the chord of 7, but it's not part of the course, and we're not allowed to use it. We've got another C over here. We've got this B and this C. Now, so we've got that C. This is 3 beats long, this note here, and this C is another half. and this B flat is another half. So you've got 3.5 C's really, 3.5 beats worth of C, and a half a beat worth of B flat. Some of you will be thinking when you're doing out your chord charts that you've already used C minor here and you've got another C, so you think you should be using C, but you've got a B flat, so you go and you use B flat. But no, that is not what I want you to be doing. You need to study the bar and figure out what notes are the more important notes. Alright, and we'll get back to that in a minute. We can put in the B, and we will talk about it again in a few minutes. So C minor because of the C, F because of the C, and because of the B you can actually technically include also B flat, E flat, and G minor. But I'll show you why you're not going to use them in a minute. Over here we've got a lot of D's. What chords have D in it? We've got B flat, we've got D, but D is the chord of 3. We're not allowed to use the chord of 3. A lot of you were using the chord of 3 in your exam. We've also got the chord of 6, right, because it's got a D. So the chord of B flat and the chord of 6, which is G minor. Here we've got another D and an E and a D. Now we can use, because of the D's, we can use B flat and we can use G minor again. Some of you might be thinking we've got an E flat here, so we can put in chords like C minor and E flat, but no. What you have to look at is the notes that are strongest and the longest or the most frequent note is the most important note that you need to be working with. So here we've got a crotchet D and another quavered D. So that's 1.5 beats of D and only half a beat of E flat. So any chords with an E in it shouldn't really be considered. Same as what happened up here. And over here we're going to talk about later as well. Here again we've got a C and another C and a D. Again, your C outweighs your D as being the most important note. So we've got chords with C in it. We've got C minor and we've got F. C minor and F. We've got two B's here, so we could use B flat. You get a B and B flat. We use E flat, or we can use G minor, and you keep all your symbols like that. Now, this maybe is a little trickier. We've got A, B, C, and A. So we've got more notes to contend with here. We have an A. What chords have an A in it? Right. And what chords have a B in it? What chords have a C in it? What chords have another A in it? What you want to try and do is think of it like this. Well, you've got two A's, and maybe you want to try and match the A's with another note to try and form a chord. So if you could pick two notes out of this that would fit into a chord, well then that chord is going to be strongest. So if we were to use A and B flat, is there any notes in here in these chords that would create a chord like that? No, there isn't. If we had A and C, then we're left with only one chord here, which is F, A, C. We've got A and we've got C, so that's an option. Some of you would have picked this A diminished chord because you've got two A's, but you're not supposed to use a chord of 7, and you completely ignored the B flat and the C. Now you're never going to get a chord that will kind of fit two notes side by side each other like that, but if you your spaces usually match up together and your lines usually match up together as well. Here we're left with only one option really, and that is F. Here again we've got B flat, G minor and E flat because we've got this B flat note. Now we've done out our options. Now, we got to work backwards, and the first thing we've got to do is end on do. End on do, work backwards, and use major chords first. Right? Ending on do, B flat is do because it's the chord of 1. Now we've got no options here, so we have to throw in F. Here we can use any of these chords because we can go to F from any of these chords, and we don't have any other chords over here to be worried about. So sticking with keeping it in major chords, we will throw in the chord of 1. Now here we may have a problem because this is the chord of 2, right? C minor, this is the chord of 5. But if we keep to our major chords first rule and put in our F, then we won't make the mistake of going from 2 to 1. So F goes in here. Over here now we've got a B flat and a G minor. So we're going to use our major chord first. Now we're going to come over here. We've got B flat and G minor. We've already used this B flat, so we can't repeat chords. So we're going to have to use G minor. And now we come back up here. Now up here, this is really important, this long note here. This long note is a point of rest in the music, right? It is a cadence point. It is the end of a phrase, a musical sentence, right? So all of this is like a little statement which is left open and unfinished, and then you've got the next statement which finishes the piece, the next phrase. So this is a perfect cadence. This is the chord of 5 going to the chord of 1, and generally it kind of usually ends up like that. And here you need to have the chord of 5, not the chord of 2, because you want an imperfect cadence. And as long as you end up on the chord of 5, it's going to sound unfinished, right? So with the chord of F in there, we've got to have another chord in here now. We can't use F because we use this major chord first. Even if you just use that major chord first rule, you'll get away. You'll probably 9 times out of 10 get your cadence right if you just use major first all of the time. Here we have to use C minor because we've already used the F, and then we need to be careful here with this B flat, E flat, G minor, because it was a B flat over here. So we can't use B flat, so we have to use E flat or G minor. And if we use major first again, just keeping it simple, we're going to go with E flat. Okay? And that is the best way to do this question. And you just need to be nice and careful and put in all of your symbols and do out your chord chart right. Everything goes wrong for you if you get this wrong. If you don't put in these minor symbols, or you forget your flats, or you put a line through the wrong chord. Some of you were putting a line through chord 6. Some of you were still using the chord of 3 and 7, even though you may have put a line through it. You need to know the few rules that go along with this. Figure out the key, do out your chord chart, put the symbols in, do your options. When you're doing your options, you try to look at the chords that would match the majority of the notes in the bar. Forget about smaller little insignificant notes that don't really mean much at all. They're just passing notes, or they're just auxiliary notes. Okay, this is a lower auxiliary note, and these are upper auxiliary notes. This note would be a passing note because it's going from one note to the next. Okay, this auxiliary notes bring you from one note back to the same note. Okay, that's an auxiliary note. This is an auxiliary note. You need to end on do then. Once you've done out all your options, you end on do, and then you work backwards and you use major chords first before any minor chord, and you can't repeat chords. Okay, so you can't go B flat, for example. If you do that, you should be getting 45 marks out of 45 every single time you do this question. Okay?